Hey family, I want you to stop whatever you're doing right now and picture this. It's the middle of the night around 3 in the morning. Your phone lights up. It's a message from your daughter. I love you. I've made a decision. Please check on Lachlan. What would you even do with that? Would you panic? Call her back? Think she's just upset? Or would something deep in your gut say, something's not right here? That's exactly what happened to a woman named Debbie in Victoria, Australia. She got that message, and less than 10 hours later, her daughter, Hannah McGuire, just 23 years old, was found dead inside a burned out car in a place called Scarsdale. Now, here's where it gets even darker. Police later revealed that message wasn't from Hannah. It was from the man who killed her. He sent it after taking her life on her phone, pretending to be her, to throw everyone off. And the part that makes my stomach turn, that text wasn't just random, it was calculated. It told her mom to check on Lachlan. It painted him as some kind of victim. It was manipulative, and it worked. For a moment at least. This isn't just about murder, it's about psychological warfare. This man didn't just kill someone, he tried to rewrite the story before the body was even found. We're living in an age where killers don't run, they post, they text, they shape the narrative before the truth has time to speak. And if you're thinking, wow, this is next level creepy, yeah, you're not wrong. Stick with me, because what happened after this message is even worse. Alright fam, let's slow it down for a second and talk about Hannah, because she's not just a headline. She was a real girl, living a real life, 23 years old, based in Ballarat, Victoria. She had a job, a family that loved her, a soft smile and big dreams. People who knew her said she was sweet, gentle, someone who replied to messages, someone who cared. You get what I mean. She wasn't someone who just vanished into thin air. But she ended up with a guy who couldn't let go. His name, Lachlan Young, same age, her ex. At first, it might have looked like any other young couple, but underneath it, there were red flags waving in plain sight, control, mood swings, breakup makeup cycles. You know the story. You've either lived it or watched someone live it. And when Hannah finally got the strength to pull away, that's when things escalated. He started acting more intense, more emotional, more manipulative. You ever see someone fake being heartbroken just to keep control? That was Lachlan's move. One of those guys who plays the victim when he's losing power. And here's what messes me up. This wasn't just about a broken heart. This was about control, total, suffocating control. Like when he saw Hannah reclaiming her life, her freedom, her voice, it was like he couldn't stand it. And instead of letting her go, he decided if he couldn't have her, no one else would. That's not love, that's ownership. That's entitlement. That's the kind of thinking that turns dangerous fast. So on April 5th, he took her life. But he didn't stop there. He took her story too. Her final words, her final digital trace, he hijacked all of it. And that's what chills me to the core, fam. This wasn't a moment of rage. It was deliberate. It was planned. It was evil in the quietest, most calculated way. And the scariest part, stories like this, they're not rare. They just don't always make headlines. Okay, fam, this is the part that gets under your skin. After Hannah was already gone, Lachlan didn't panic. He didn't call for help. He didn't cry or confess. Instead, he picked up her phone and started pretending to be her. Let that sink in for a second. The man had just taken her life, and his first instinct was to craft a story using her own phone, her own voice, her own digital identity. He sent that now infamous message to her mom at 3:43 in the morning. I love you. I've made a decision. Please check on Lachlan. Sounds like a goodbye, right? Like a girl in crisis. But here's the thing, that message wasn't just creepy, it was manipulative. He made it sound like Hannah was worried about him, like she was protecting him from something. That's what shook me. This wasn't just a random fake text. This was emotional warfare. This guy wrote it in a way that twisted the focus, made himself the victim. Like, imagine the coldness it takes to sit down after killing someone and type out a goodbye using their phone, framing yourself like you're the one who needs help. That's next level disturbing. But it didn't stop at the text. He also logged into her banking app and transferred 5,000 Australian dollars into his own account. Then, and this is where it gets beyond bizarre, he sent $2,000 to her parents. No note, no explanation, just money, as if it would buy confusion or time, or maybe even silence. The whole thing was choreographed like a sick performance. And for a few hours, it worked. Debbie, Hannah's mom, believed it. She thought her daughter might have taken her own life. Thought maybe Lachlan was going through something too. She was devastated, confused, and in her own words, she started blaming herself. Think about that. Her daughter was already gone, and this man was still using her to manipulate the people who loved her most. And here's my take. That level of deception, that's not heat of the moment. That's cold. That's premeditated. That's someone trying to rewrite reality before the truth has a chance to breathe. You don't fake a suicide text, move money around, and disappear a car unless you're planning for people to believe a very specific version of events. But the thing about liars, they always leave cracks. And the truth? It was already catching up to him. Alright, so Lachlan thought he had it all covered: fake texts, hush money transfers, a burned out car, and a timeline that made it look like Hannah had taken her own life. But what he didn't count on? The cold, quiet power of forensics. Because while he was pretending to grieve, investigators were already poking holes in the whole thing. And spoiler, his story didn't hold for long. They started with the message, that 3:43 am text to Hannah's mom. It sounded like a suicide note, but when they looked closer, it didn't feel like Hannah. The guards pulled the phone metadata timestamps, cell tower pings, signal overlap. Turns out, at the exact moment that text was sent, Hannah's phone and Lachlan's phone were in the exact same place, same signal, same location, same time. That's the digital smoking gun. Because think about it, if she had sent that message on her own, her phone would have been somewhere else, anywhere else, but it wasn't. It was right next to Lachlan's, and that tells you everything. Then they looked at the bank transfers. Her account logs showed 2 transactions, $5,000 to Lachlan and $2,000 to her family. Not normal, not random, and not explainable unless someone else had access to her phone. And they did. And let's talk about that car. Hannah's body was found in a burned out vehicle in Scarsdale hours after that text. The fire meant to destroy evidence, that's clear. But forensics recovered just enough to confirm the worst. She didn't die by suicide. She didn't walk into the flames. She was already gone before the car was even set on fire. And here's what blew my mind. He planned all of this thinking the tech wouldn't betray him. But that's the thing about digital trails, they don't lie. Phones talk. Apps log everything. And if you're dumb enough to commit murder and leave a breadcrumb trail behind you, forensics will shred your story to pieces. At this point in the investigation, Lachlan's entire version of events was falling apart. Fast. The grieving ex? Nah. The guy sending weird text messages and acting shocked at the bank transfers? Busted. And remember, he told Hannah's mom he got a strange message from her too. Investigators checked his phone. Same story, same tower, same lie. So here we are, fam, July 2025, in the Victorian Supreme Court. No cameras, just cold facts, tense energy, and a family sitting just a few feet away from the man who took their daughter's life. Lachlan Young is now officially on trial for the murder of Hannah McGuire. And what does he say? He stands there and tells the court, "Yes, I killed her, but it wasn't murder." He's claiming it was a spur of the moment thing, not planned, just a fight that went too far. That's what his defense wants people to believe. But let's be real. Come on, bro. You don't accidentally send a fake goodbye text to someone's mom at 3 in the morning. You don't accidentally transfer thousands of dollars from a dead girl's bank account. You don't accidentally torch a car with a body inside. This wasn't panic. This was strategy. Cold, calculated, deliberate. Inside the courtroom, Hannah's mother, Debbie, took the stand, and man, what she said broke hearts. She told the jury about that message she got in the early hours, the one that said, "I love you, I've made a decision." She thought it was real. She believed her daughter was still alive. And she did what any mother would do. She started calling, texting back, begging for a reply. But there was nothing. And here's the part that crushed me. Debbie said she blamed herself. She sat there thinking, what if I missed something? What if she reached out sooner and I didn't see it? That's what this killer did. He didn't just murder Hannah. He planted guilt like a seed inside her own mother's chest. And Lachlan, he sat there in court like he was confused, like all this grief was just a tragic misunderstanding. But the guards had already exposed the lie. They had phone data, banking records, cell tower pings, a forensic timeline that proved Hannah was already dead when those messages went out. And this is what pisses me off even now. With the truth laid bare, he's still trying to spin a version of events where he's the one who lost control, where it was just an accident. But everything screams intent. You don't try to rewrite a person's final chapter unless you're very aware of what you've done. So let's go back to Debbie, Hannah's mom. She's the one who got that fake goodbye message at 3:43 in the morning. She's the one who didn't sleep, who called and texted, who went numb when her daughter's phone stayed silent. And she's the one who sat in court and said through tears, "For hours, I believed she was alive." That's the kind of trauma that doesn't fade. That's not just grief, that's psychological sabotage. And I mean this from the heart. When you steal someone's life, that's one thing. But when you also steal their voice, their final words, their story, that's a whole other kind of evil. Lachlan didn't just want Hannah gone. He wanted to rewrite who she was on the way out. That's what makes this case so hard to sit with. He knew Debbie would read that message. He counted on it. He played her emotions like a script, and for a few hours, she believed it. She even said in court, "I thought I had failed her. I thought I missed a cry for help." Man, let that hit you for a second. For those of us watching this from the outside, it's easy to focus on the facts, the data, the crime scene. But don't forget, real people are living in the wreckage. This woman had to bury her daughter, then live with the thought that maybe she didn't do enough. And none of it was true. It was all part of his performance, his cover-up, his final act of control. And when the court played the bank data, the text logs, the timeline, that performance fell apart fast, because tech doesn't lie. Phones don't grieve. Apps don't feel sorry for you. And in the end, the truth had receipts. Let's talk real for a second, family. You hear stories like this young woman, toxic ex, tragedy, and people always try to frame it like some kind of romantic obsession gone wrong. Like he was heartbroken or he couldn't handle the breakup. But let's be clear, this was never about love. It was about power. From the moment Hannah pulled away from Lachlan, he didn't see her as a person anymore. He saw her as something slipping out of his grip, something he thought he owned. And when she finally started to move on emotionally, physically, maybe even romantically, that's when he snapped. But here's what makes this case next level terrifying. Even after he killed her, Lachlan wasn't done trying to control her. He used her phone, her name, her money, her memory. He puppeteered her in death the way he couldn't in life. That's not heartbreak, that's narrative control. And bro, I've got to say it, this is the future of abuse. We used to think it stopped when the violence happened. But now, we're seeing killers who use technology to keep manipulating their victims after they're gone. Think about that. He didn't just silence her. He tried to speak for her. Fake texts, emotional wording, transferring money to make it all seem like she was the one making decisions, as if he was the poor soul caught in the aftermath, not the monster who caused it. And this is where I get really real with you. If this case doesn't shake us awake, I don't know what will. Because how many more of these are happening? Where killers use phones, social media, GPS data, not just to stalk, but to reprogram the story. We need to start asking better questions. Not just who did it, but who's controlling the narrative. Because if we don't, we're gonna keep letting people like Lachlan write their own version of the truth, and sometimes it'll be too late to pull it back. So let's zoom in on the thing that broke this case wide open. Not a confession, not a witness, not some dramatic slip-up. It was the phone. See, Lachlan thought he was being smart. He figured, if I send the text early enough, say the right things, transfer a little money, people will believe it. It'll look like she made a decision and disappeared. But what he didn't know, phones log everything, and not just texts and calls. We're talking about GPS, app activity, signal strength, and even movement patterns. The guards worked with digital forensic experts who combed through every second of data. They found that Hannah's phone and Lachlan's phone were in the same location at the exact time that goodbye message was sent to her mom 3:43 in the morning. That's not a coincidence. That's the exact moment he tried to rewrite the truth. And her phone being with him when that message went out, that was the digital fingerprint he couldn't wipe clean. Then they dug into the banking app. 2 transfers. $5,000 straight to Lachlan's account. $2,000 sent to Hannah's family. Why? To make it look like she was settling things. As if she was wrapping up her life like someone planning to disappear. But here's the thing. Fam, you can delete messages. You can torch a car. But if you think forensics won't follow the trail, you're living in the past. This is 2025. The truth lives in the metadata now. The tech experts matched timestamps, compared handwriting on the phone to known text patterns, tracked the fingerprint usage, the app logins, even the speed at which the messages were typed. And the story Lachlan tried to build, it fell apart one log file at a time. What I love about this part is that it shows something powerful. Even when a victim's voice is stolen, tech can speak for them. In this case, Hannah's phone, the same one used to manipulate her mom, ended up becoming the witness that got her justice. That phone told the truth Lachlan never expected anyone to hear. Alright family, let's be real now this case. It's not just about Lachlan Young, and it's not just about Hannah McGuire. This is about how easy it's become to fake a story, to use tech, phones, messages, even bank accounts, to lie, to mislead, to cover up something unthinkable. And here's where it hits deep for me. We're living in a time where digital footprints can be manipulated as easily as a text gets deleted. And the scariest part, most people wouldn't question it. You get a message at 3 in the morning from someone you love saying goodbye. Are you going to stop and analyze the metadata? No. you're going to believe it. That's the vulnerability. That's the gap Lachlan exploited. And it's not just him. This kind of manipulation is rising. Abusers using GPS to stalk, logging into their ex's socials, sending messages pretending to be them, even accessing cloud accounts after death. This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. And that's why I think we need to shift how we see digital abuse. It's not just harassment. It's not just shady DMs. It's story control. And in Hannah's case, it was story control after death. That's what makes this case unforgettable and honestly unforgivable. So what do? We talk about it. We teach people, especially young women, that it's okay to question the narrative, that it's okay to say, that doesn't sound like her, that it's okay to dig deeper when something doesn't feel right. And to the families out there, if you ever get a weird text, a goodbye that doesn't sound like your person, don't wait. Ask questions. Call. Get help. Because the next victim might not have the digital trail that Hannah had. This case cracked open a terrifying truth about how easily victims can be erased not just physically, but digitally. And the only way we fight that is by making sure we're paying attention. Alright, family, if you've stayed with me this far, first off, thank you. I know this wasn't easy to watch. It wasn't easy to tell either. Because this case, it's more than shocking, it's personal. And it should scare the hell out of all of us, not because it's rare, but because it's too real. Hannah McGuire deserved so much more. She deserved a full life, real love, real freedom. And when she tried to take her life back, she was punished for it. Silenced, manipulated, burned, and then framed through a fake goodbye. But here's the truth. She wasn't the weak one. She was strong. She tried to leave. She tried to move forward. And Lachlan couldn't handle that. So he tried to erase her in life, in death, and even in memory. But we're not letting him. We're not letting this story fade into silence. We're going to talk about it. We're going to call out the signs when we see them. And we're going to protect the next Hannah before it's too late. So now I'm asking you if you learned something from this, if it made you feel something, if you've ever seen someone go through a toxic relationship that scared you. Don't scroll past. Say something. Share this video. Talk about it with your friends. Comment their names. Keep these stories loud. Because the more we speak up, the harder it becomes for monsters like Lachlan to rewrite the truth. This isn't just a true crime story, it's a call to attention. And as long as I've got a platform, as long as you're here listening, I'm gonna keep telling these stories loud, honest, unfiltered. Because silence, that's what they count on.